Still didn't get his name. I just can't quite see.
Right, it worked.
Phone in the way.
Rock and roll.
It's 22.7. I'm going to address the chat for just a second. I'll walk back down this road. I'm going down this road a lot.
Should we restream Bow?
$1 on my app has the link.
Let's do it. Let's restream Smurf Watch. No, let's not.
Appreciate all you guys coming in and saying hi to me.
Hell yeah. I check your stuff too, man.
I am going to be getting out more and more.
All right.
That's it, folks. I really appreciate it.
I'm just going to keep getting set up while people find this. Oh, yeah, I'll put the link here.
Temperature is right around 55 degrees. There's a little bit of a cloud cover.
Do post.
Some of the neighborhood kids see me walking. This out there, and I heard them saying, kidnap her. They all ran in their house.
Standing tall, 7'10", I think. It's the channel. We didn't see the stop. $79.99 per month Canadian. Oh my God, bro, savage. You're the Canadian. That makes it seem so worse. Fucking exchange rate.
All right, there's nothing happening here.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck they're doing over there.
Daniel was laughing. He's like, fuck all that.
So we're gonna have to make a score about that lady and her ego.
Oh, shit. Daniel's like, hell no.
I think because they use my name, then I'm not going to put this out there.
Here it is.
Live.
I'll just take the Trump song.
How are you guys doing? I am.
All right, hello. Welcome in. Oh, no, that's me. Never mind.
I seen we had a few people in.
Let's get that out of here.
We do. We have a restream going too. I think we have like 60 something in the restream, 70 something.
We've gotten a chest cold.
Who's restreaming me?
Aggravated by hours.
Channel Sam.
Good. Glad to hear that.
No, it's just Jeebus. Welcome in, our members. Welcome in.
Anyway, folks, I just seen them officers wanted to see what was going on.
I am happy that I can stream from the new laptop. No matter who comes in, I think this is wonderful. We're talking about the farm, homesteading, joys and delights and headaches and heartaches. See who trickles on in. Get on live chat. Right, we're set. Hello, hello, welcome in, welcome in. I'm just getting set up here. Turn this down. There we go. It's Sunday Night Live, the Brent Shimko Show. Let's see. Oh, that was earlier. Seems like there's no delay on this. So I like that. There's a little delay on the laptop. Come on. Come on, let's see it. All right. Well, as long as nobody's here, I'm going to play around, see what happens. So if somebody comes on in, we'll do what we need to do. And the contrast on this monitor is awful. Where's my app? Here we go. OBS Studio. Still going. All right, that didn't kill it, so that's good. All right. Start. No, I don't have that. Never mind. Nope. 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 That was last week. Why can't I get on here? Why can't I watch my own thing? Let's try this here. I'm watching it here. No. No. Let's try this. Shows that I'm live. No. So I got delay here. All right. Okay. Okay. So, phone can go away. All right. Well, we're just going to play until somebody shows up. How do you get OBS set up? So if I record, no, that probably doesn't. Do anything this week after. Okay. see. This again. Display capture. Oh, wow. Stream. Hello, come on in. I'm just fooling around with my laptop here. Waiting for everybody to show up. Just trying to set up my OBS studio. I don't think it's going to work. Oh, maybe it worked. Hello, hello. Make yourself at home. Just doing some setups here with my digital toys here. I know it's very exciting content for you. I think I can close these settings. Save changes. YouTube chat. It's all wonderful. Close that. Start streaming. Are we streaming? Oh, here we go. Guess we're stuck here. You just closed the dog. Oh, in any case, we are trying to set up all these devices, which I'm just figuring this out as I go along, so bear with me. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna get out of this. Forget it. I'll have to figure this out another time. I can't. I'm gonna have to get a tutorial. Maybe there's a YouTube video that can teach me how to use this. In any case, hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I've had a pretty good weekend. Had a good stream today, this morning, talking about some music and sound equipment, music artists. What else are we talking about? Synchronicities. Yeah, feel wiped out. I kind of feel like I didn't do anything today, but then it was like 5 hours of watching Smurf Watch Transparency with Bao. My hair is kind of distracting me. I'm gonna do this. We're like a farmer, a true farmer. The official uniform, the camo hat, kind of mandatory around here. Yeah, I did a bunch of chores and stuff outside. I uploaded a couple of videos filming me dragging a bale of hay into the pasture, and I was testing out a gimbal. Let me go fetch this thing just let's see. It's kind of this neat device where you can stick your phone in here. The phone clamp is over there. And then you can control all kinds of neat functions on your phone. And so, yeah, I was using that to film the video outside. The audio was horrible, but the device works, even if it's just a tripod and a phone stand. I thought that was cool. But it's got functions where you can lock in on a face or an object, and it'll follow that object wherever you go. So it's like having a cameraman without having to have a person operating a camera. So depending on what you're doing, I was trying to get that functionality going, but I wasn't quite using the thing properly. But the more I use it, the more better I'll get at it. So that'll come in handy for shooting videos outside, most certainly. Yeah, what else did I do? Oh yeah, and I shot a little video just kind of prefacing this live stream of, you know, what it takes to to get your head in the space to be homesteading or being out in an area like this. And I'll kind of lead into the topic. We were talking, well, not we were talking, but I made a comment in the chat this morning on the Smurf Watch channel about this one streamer we were restreaming and commenting on, and I asked, like, has she got what it takes to stay out of jail? Because she's essentially doing the van life, homeless lifestyle right now, and streaming on YouTube or Twitch or something. And the point wasn't to say like she wasn't capable. It's just she had just gotten out of jail, and I was kind of showing some level of concern, I guess, because being homeless, you know, you're prone to harassment by the King's men, who, so I guess it's illegal to not have a place to live in the United States. And it's getting to be that way in Canada here as well. I don't like having all that. I gotta get comfortable here. Just sit back and talk. I don't want all this space above my head there. That's not bad. That's not bad. I got my coffee here, got my tea. I got the banned substance here, which I'll reveal later. But yeah, as far as, you know, the goal is to stay out of jail. You know, you're doing well if you can stay out of jail. And my strategy for doing that is moving away from the city, moving out here, not attracting attention to yourself, because the police don't patrol around where I am. I'm 40 miles from the nearest large city. Well, actually, 20 miles from fairly large small town, for Canada anyway, about 10,000 people. I know like places in California or even Ontario, like a small town is minimum 100,000 people. Like here, that would be the second largest city next to Winnipeg. But we don't have that kind of population. It's very quiet out here. There is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, 10, 15 minutes away, but they're not coming up and down my road unless something really weird is going on. And they're not patrolling through the streets of our town. I live a couple of miles outside of town, but it's a small town, like 1,000 people. And I could pretty much do what I want here, within reason. The rule of thumb is kind of, as long as you're not pissing off your neighbors, you're not going to raise any eyebrows, cause any trouble, or attract that kind of attention to yourself. But being homeless, you're always looking over your shoulder, see who's trying to shake you down, or if you have warrants, or if you have a history of mental illness or that. So it's more than just street smarts. And I'm not bragging on myself, but I've spent less time in jail than this one streamer has. So it's not a knock on them. Just, I don't want to see them end up in jail again for non-crimes, essentially, for the crime of not living the way the establishment wants you to live. So if you are in the city and you've decided you want to live out in the sticks, where it's nice and quiet, and you got some land and you can do some stuff with it, it's a real adjustment in your thinking and your approach. You are becoming much more self-reliant, because all the conveniences of the city are there for you. I don't have a Costco right nearby, or my access to different services is different. I have every service at my disposal, but I don't have a lot of choices. There's one grocery in town, and then a couple of convenience stores. There's a handful of restaurants. I think there's like a pizza place or two, and then a couple of family dining restaurants, and then a Chinese takeout place. And that's it. So, I like to do most of my business right where I am. I don't feel a need to travel to and from, Winnipeg, the big city. Other than, once a week I might come into town for a visit, or I might have some business to do. But I try to stay out here as much as I can, because this is the most secure place to me, or in my perception. So if you're kind of able to make that break from the city, well, then maybe it's time to consider a life far from the big smoke. And what prompted this whole discussion was in Michael Eline's channel yesterday. He was doing a live stream, and he was talking about that need to homestead and set up parallel economies, parallel societies, live cooperatively, not communism, of course. He's a libertarian, so he's not a socialist by any means. And I agree. I can't say I wholeheartedly agree, because I've been at this for quite some time and attempting to form vital communities of that nature, and it's a lot of work. So maybe where he's at, what he's describing, it's people are more open to that. Here, there's like a fierce independence that farmers have, and if you're moving from a place where people are unfamiliar with you and you're not familiar with them, it's difficult to get into a community, like to penetrate. You are the outsider for quite some time, and so that's a factor. Your family or whoever you're bringing with you, those are going to be your your closest compatriots for quite some time. And then you got to look at employment. Are you doing this as a hobby? Because what I'm doing is I've got a homestead on 5 acres, 4-bedroom house, which is larger than what I need, and it can be a big expense, and it's not a big income generator as far as the farming side of it, because I don't get any subsidies in any form. There's no crop insurance that I qualify for. I really don't have much business opportunity marketing what I can grow and produce here. And so it's a bit of a challenge. So you have to kind of figure these things out ahead of time if you're thinking of living this kind of lifestyle. And as I'm transitioning from this location to a different location, I'm going to be doing more of the same what I'm doing. It's just a different context. And I'm looking forward to it, moving on to the next thing. But it's sort of a matter of being able to plan your course. And so are you thinking, and I'm just going through some of the mental exercise or the thought process you might have to go through. And people like Curtis Stone, who I mentioned in one of my earliest videos, a video that was centered on YouTuber homesteaders channels and kind of farming channels and the like. He had I don't know if he still does, I imagine he does, a consulting business that would help people find locations for the purpose of getting their operation going. And a lot of it is kind of common sense, and some of the stuff might be things rehashed from his material. In any case, it's kind of a long checklist of things to go through, and we probably won't go through it all even in this live stream. It seems like people are not engaging with this immediately, at least not in the live. So it is nice to have an interaction going, a conversation, but I'll go on for a few minutes, see if people show up. But as part of a kind of consultory service, if I may use that term, which I may have just invented, consultation for your consideration, having lived it, having gone through the experience, there's things that you can benefit from my experience. I can help you answer the questions, or at least know which questions to ask before you launch into a decision of relocating to this type of lifestyle. And so, yeah, are your plans to, say, work in the city and live far enough out of town that it's quiet and remote enough, and then you travel back and forth, in a bedroom community, say 30, 40 minutes, an hour from where you work, and still do the commute? Because that's going to limit how much time and energy you can do into, say, homesteading activities like gardening, raising animals, and the like. Do you have an arrangement where one of the, if you're married or have a partner, where one of the parents, likewise, if you have kids, one of the parents is staying home full time, or you both working? Do you have to figure out daycare, schooling, all those things? In the area where I am, the schools are pretty decent. They're not very woke. It's a rural, conservative community, pretty homogenous. There's private school options available if you want to go that route. But it's a pretty safe place to send your kids off to school, if you were choosing the public education option. That's something you have to consider, the decisions as far as who's going to school your kids. If one parent is at home, you have the option of homeschooling. If one of the parents is able to stay home, you can get a lot more done rather than doing part-time homesteading slash farming slash animal operations slash gardening. Whether it's market, you can do market gardening, raise some crop for profits. But where I am, for instance, in that regard, I'm 45 minutes away from the big city, and everyone around me, they all have access to the same type of products that I would market. So trying to sell eggs here, everybody's knows about the price of eggs lately. It's getting a little out of hand. Well, people here locally expect to get eggs for $2.50 a dozen. And so really I can't even raise my chickens to raise eggs for that price. And then if I were to say try to market my eggs in Winnipeg to say a group of buyers or some private members association, or had something set up, well, if I have to deliver those and use my time, fuel, and whatnot, I'm not making any money at $7 a dozen. I'd be selling them at $10 or $15 a dozen just to cover my costs, and I don't think the market is going to bear those kind of prices, no matter how good your eggs are. So for me, like, the option of a farmer's market or that kind of thing is not really helpful because I'm a little too far away from town. But if there's say an opportunity very close to town and you have a client base or customer base, well, then it might make sense to use a vehicle and make deliveries. But just understand, like, if you were to invest in, say, a refrigerated delivery van, you're not going to recoup that overhead very quickly unless you're finding a high-end clientele, like a fine dining restaurant that wants your particular product. But then you get into kind of the Joel Salatin spiral. And again, he's one of the creators that I found early on in YouTube that was talking about everyone has the ability to farm, but the regulations that you're going to run into, the zoning requirements, the safety requirements. If you find someone who's willing to buy what you're offering, and it's say let's just use for example, it was chickens. Well, here in Canada, we've got a supply management system for chickens, eggs, milk, a few other items, but those are the big three: poultry, milk, and eggs. The whole dairy setup there. So, in any case, a small operator like myself, I'm limited to 1,000 broiler chickens a year is what I could raise without buying what they call quota. And that's essentially you buy a contract with the government, and they essentially get you in their marketing association and can guarantee a price for your product. But if you're selling it privately, however you manage to do that, if it's to a restaurant, well, you have to have those birds inspected prior to allowing them to be sold in a restaurant because they have food safety requirements. So that's an added expense to your operation, which again is a barrier to entry to these markets where if you were part of the cartel, you would have access. So really, there's no room in Canada for small operations anymore. It's all centralized. It's all being done in a sense where you don't have access to the markets unless you're part of the associations. And so you got to consider that. So then you decide: are you going to raise enough just for you and yours, you and your family, or you and your friends and family, you and your friends, family, and neighbors? Because really, if say you want to start a pig operation, which I have as well, you've got maybe a couple of breeding animals, a boar and a sow. Well, that sow is probably going to have, if she's young and still producing well, anywhere from 10 to 16 piglets every time you breed her. So you and your family are not going to eat 16 finished hogs in a year. So you got to either sell them as piglets or raise them and sell them as as butcher hogs. And but it's a lot of expense to fatten up an animal to that size where you can sell it as a butcher hog, and then the consideration of how are you going to process that animal. You can sell it off your farm, but the the buyer is basically entering a contract with you, and it's really up to them to handle that animal. So it's there's lots to consider, lots to take into consideration to decide what kind of operation you want. It's the other thing I want to use as an example is I have some friends that have been talking about moving to a more remote location for a number of years, and especially since COVID. But it's like they've got this Goldilocks list where it has to be all these boxes checked off. It has to be so many dollars, to be affordable. It has to be close enough to town, but it has to be a minimum lot size of this, and they want trees, and it's kind of like if you want all that, like that property doesn't exist the way they've described it. Like you're not finding that, at that price. Maybe if you doubled or tripled your budget, you might be able to find something like that. But those properties are not on the market for the price you're looking for, and if they are, they're snapped up instantly, and you kind of have to make a decision quick. So it's like the advice I would give is have realistic expectations based on your budget. In many cases, that's the limiting factor. I don't think you're ever going to find a property that ticks all the boxes on your list. And I know this property, it doesn't tick all the boxes, but it ticks enough of them. And so it was worthwhile to get started here. I learned a lot here. I'll continue to learn at the next place. But getting back to the job situation, there's jobs out here as well. If you decide to say, start over, start a new life, with the idea that you're just going to make it wherever you plant yourself. Well, there's jobs out here, but they don't pay as well. They're not maybe enjoyable jobs. You may start off at minimum wage when you were used to a lot more, and so you got to figure if you're doing it as a retirement project and you have some money, and you can work part-time and farm part-time, as a true hobby, well, that might make it work. But if you're kind of a young family starting out, it could be very modest for many years until you get things established. And so these are just some of the considerations I wanted to put forth. We'll talk more homesteading stuff in some live streams, but I think I'll cut it off there. Where are we at here? Almost 45 minutes. Just think if there's anything else I can add to this that makes sense to it. I think if you've made it to the end, if you're into this kind of content, we'll do more of it. If there is no response to this, that's fine too. I am going to try, I guess, as an experiment, see about marketing this place on YouTube once I'm ready to sell. So keep an eye out for that. I'm kind of interested to see if it'd work to do like virtual tours and do a stream and list it as private, or have a private listed video that qualified buyers can access. And so I'm interested to see if the word gets out through YouTube. I am located in southern Manitoba, just kind of southeast of Winnipeg, about 45 minutes, and I'll disclose more and more. Right, docs my location currently, but eventually that's going to be the case. Whether I use a realtor or marketplace or YouTube, I'm just curious to see if YouTube is a viable platform to do this kind of thing. And what I had in mind is to offer a rent to own opportunity, because that's how we actually got into this place. When we were first married, we didn't really have much going for us, even as far as a way of looking at properties with a down payment. Like, we didn't qualify for a mortgage initially, but we got wind of this rent to own opportunity where we are, and we were able to get the down payment in the prescribed amount of time, and we qualified for the mortgage, once that was in place. And then we started building what we've got going now, which is something which started off with a flock of a dozen chickens, and then we got a couple of dogs, and then we got cats, and then we went to rabbits, and then it was sheep, and then we got rid of the rabbits, and then we had ducks, which we still have, and then there was pigs that showed up, and so we still got the pigs. And then it was, my dream was always to have a milking cow, and so we've had a few milking cows over the years. I currently have one that I'm milking, and I guess we'll reveal the banned substance. Right here, we've got a glass full of very hazardous material called raw milk, and so I'm going to drink it live on internet, on YouTube, and we'll see if the authorities come after me, or whether this is allowed or not. So here we go. Oh my, that's so good. If you've never had whole fresh milk from a cow, you have not lived. That is so creamy. There's like a sweetness to it. It's almost like drinking a cup full of ice cream. It is astoundingly good. So if that's the kind of thing you're interested in doing, that kind of activity, drinking raw milk whenever you like it, homesteading and farming might be the thing for you. So stay tuned. We'll have more to say about this. Again, if you're seeing this video and you have questions, by all means, drop a comment, and keep an eye out for live streams. We'll maybe kind of set some aside for this very topic, as well as talking more about this house and how I plan to go about selling it. But yeah, the rent to own option is on the table. I'd be open to offers as a owner for sale by owner opportunity as well. If those efforts don't work, I may just try to do a quick sell with a realtor, but there is a lot to clean up. If the prospective buyer wanted a farm operation, I could include in the price some of the animals and equipment I have here, but that would have to be reflected in the offer. So your financing options would dictate how feasible that is, or if you had a cash offer, that's something on the table too. So there's a fair amount of infrastructure that could be included, as well as equipment and tools and things that I have accumulated over the years that make this kind of operation doable, that I won't necessarily need at the next place. Some of the stuff I can leave here, or if it's got to go, then that's more work for me to haul it all away. But regardless, That's my issue, not yours. And so with that, I think I'll shut this down and get back to your regularly scheduled YouTubing. And until next time, have a great one, guys.